Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights, episode about the National Sports Card Collectors Convention, how I'm preparing, and some questions I have. And rather than having a guest, I'm going to throw it out to y'all to think about this and see what your responses are. So you can respond back to me, or you could see me at the National. I will be there. I'll give you a little bit of a clue of how I'm going to go about it and what I'm doing to prepare. So thanks, sponsors, pretty much all of whom will be at the National. Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, obviously, in some form or fashion, larger or smaller. Heritage Auctions, Huggins Scott Auctions, definitely. ComC.com and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, of course. And then we've got Burbank Sports Cards and Mike Stadium Sports Cards. I think Mike will be there, and Rob and Ryan will be there too. So looking forward to connecting with all of those and the many dealers and collectors that'll be there. So here's some of my thoughts about the upcoming National. It's just in a week and a half, so it'll be here before we know it. I don't know that it's too late. It may be too late for you to decide to go if you live far away, but if you're on the East Coast, if you're within a couple hundred miles of jumping in a car and coming down for a day or two or three or five, I highly recommend it. It's a 42 times in a lifetime experience for me, or whatever it's been. So I plan to go every year for as long as I can. So first thing, okay, I've been to the website. I've been looking for about a year because I had somebody ask me about something for next summer, and I realized nowhere on the National Sports Collectors Convention website is there any indication of what the exact dates are for 2023? We know it's going to be in Chicago. Maybe they just want people to focus on Atlantic City, and as soon as that's over, so you can't make a run on the hotel rooms or anything like that and the airfare. But I'd like to know, because I've got plans I'm trying to make for 2023, and I love to plan for the National first and then plan family vacations and other things around that as much as possible. Again, been possible 43 times or whatever it's been. So again, put that down. I'm sure I'll find out at the National this year when next year is, because they'll do the table lotteries and things like that. So help me out there, National Committee. Number two, why are the VIPs or the super VIPs sold out? I just think, wow, when you're selling a premium product, and the only capacity control that I can see is that they must have a finite number of goodie bags that they've gotten from sponsors with some special items that justify paying more. But wow, when people want to pay extra for a little bit more access for the same thing, I'd sure want to make it worth it. Do they have 500 of them? Do they have 1,000? If they're going to be 100,000 people there, whether 10,000 VIPs or 5,000 or 1,000, it's just getting in early. And boy, I'd want to sell as many as possible. Number three, I'd love to see a little bit more organization, and maybe it's out there and I just am not as social media connected, but the ability to get from Philadelphia, the airport, to Atlantic City, there are many options there, but the best options are cooperative kinds of things, ride share kind of things. And it'd be nice to know what flights, and maybe that's just personal privacy issues, but I'm going on Wednesday. I think I'm going to stand up in the plane and say, anybody going to the National, and then we'll share an Uber or whatever. I think if you share an Uber and you don't tell them that you're not brothers, we're brothers in the hobby, and you get 3 or 4 guys together, then you divide by 4 instead of multiplying by 4. So I'd love to do that. So anyway, I'm going Wednesday morning, so I got plenty of time, but it'd be fun to ride over with some other hobbyists. Number 4, I don't have huge concerns, but when I was out in Burbank with Burbank Sports Cards with Rob and Ryan and their whole team, got a great tour. And one of the things I noticed is that they do so much business, and it's not just selling. They really provide a lot of liquidity. And I'll do some more episodes about that, but they actually have to take names for people that want to sell them collections and cards and boxes. And so they just are taking names. And so you have to wait your turn. And I'm just wondering at the National with certain dealers, certain tables, whether there will be some of that action. I'm wondering if I go up to a certain table that I know I want to go to and all the seats are taken. And I don't have a reservation. My wife and I went to the movies the other night. We went to Top Gun at the IMAX, and it's reserved seating. It was a couple days before, and the theater looked empty. So I picked it right in the middle. I thought, this is going to be great. And we got there, and my awesome wife said, I think we're a little bit too close. I said, we'll move back a few rows, move back a little bit, because there was nobody in the theater at that point, hardly anybody. When I reserved, less than 20% of the tickets were taken. And so we're in there. There's about 20% of the people there, mainly in the middle there. And I said, let's move back a few rows. And it's at the beginning of the preview. So we're then halfway through the preview, somebody comes and says, hey, you're in my seat. Oh, sorry. And so we move back another 5 or 6 rows. Now we're 3/4 of the way back. But the theater's starting to fill up. And I thought, well, gee, this is interesting, because it looked like the theater was going to be wide open. The movie had been out for quite a while. Sure enough, somebody comes, hey, you're in my seat. Now we get up and there's no more seats left in the theater except our original seats, which are perfectly in the middle. But with the IMAX, maybe it's better to be in the back where you can see the panoramic zooming of the F-18s, the fighter pilots, and all that kind of stuff, the Top Guns aspect. And then we noticed there's 2 seats on the very back row in the corner, which made it a date night for us. So we moved back. But I'm just wondering, when I go to the National, are there going to be limited seating at tables that I'm interested in? Because if I'm interested in a table, it doesn't mean that other people are going to be interested because of that. But probably if I'm interested in it, it's because there's something interesting there and other people may come too. I think I'm going to have to get there early if it's something I'm interested in. Okay, number 5, I have seen the United States Postal Service. They get a bad rap at times. I did consulting work for them decades ago, more than 3 decades ago. And they try hard. And one of the things they do sometimes, it shows, is they'll have a booth or a presence at a trade show for mailing things back home. And so I'm wondering, I haven't seen anything about that. I have seen USPS at some shows, but there's not been any advertising that I've seen that the Postal Service will be there to take things to mail back. I've been very blessed to have friends, and Rich has helped me out, and ComC and Beckett Media, and I think Triple Cards last year. Really, it was great to get a few boxes here when I bought more stuff that wouldn't fit in my car. I'm hoping USPS is there and I can just mail it back. And the mail postage cost is about a penny a card, so it's very much worth it. Number 6, I am preparing, as I always do. I work out pretty much every single day. And so there's a certain kind of physical fitness you want to have for going to a card show and sitting around and walking around. I actually am in really good walking shape because I do treadmill pretty much every day. But it's really not helpful. It doesn't help your eyes. In fact, when I'm on the treadmill, I'm watching movies or TV shows or sports stuff. But that's not eye strain for me. But doing intense eye work for a number of hours in a row and seated or standing, sometimes you have to stand there and then you're hunched over, or you're sitting down and you're hunched over. Your physical fitness, and again, I'm not an expert at this, but I do have some level of endurance at my age, and my fitness level is to whatever you're going to be doing a lot of, which is seated down and hunching forward, you need to exercise before and during in the opposite. So I'll lie backwards on an exercise, a physio ball, to stretch the other way and try to do stretching. I'm going to have several days in a row of sitting in a chair, hunched over, manipulating cards. It's like being a truck driver where you got your arms in front of you and you rounded your shoulders. And I just encourage you to, if there's a way to do it ahead of time, to do warm-ups or stretches that stretch you back the other way. That's what my excellent trainer has done. He says, you're going to be doing a lot of this, then you need to do the opposite to prepare. Otherwise, you're going to be strained, and I don't want to be too injured to endure at the Nationals. I don't want you to be either. Number 7 was, and I had mentioned this before, I'd love to see more of a digital directory, a database of the dealers and what they have. I think somebody could do that. Whether they would do that in advance of the National, it would be in the dealer's best interest for collectors walking in to get a program that said not only this is the dealer at that place, but here's the type of material that they have. Somebody could sponsor that, could be part of the program, and I'd love to see it. Number 8, if you're a fan of Ted Lasso, is the concept of relegation. This would be really unpopular. But when you go to the National, there are 600, 700, 800 dealers, depending on how you count, and not all of them are of equal quality. And if there was such a thing as a relegation, because there's a long waiting list of people that want to go. And in relegation in soccer, if you're at the bottom of the league, then the top guys from the league below can either challenge up or replace you. And there's a number of dealers at the National who are there by habit, and they have a good time being there, but they're not really adding different material to the mix. And again, it's their privilege, but if they were on notice that there's going to be a replacement, there's going to be a relegation. If you're downrated in some kind of a Yelp way, then you're going to get replaced by somebody that's on the waiting list. Number 9 is BYOC or BYOP. Do I need to bring my own chair or bring my own pillow to sit on? I am getting older, and I don't want to stand at a booth for a few hours looking at cards. I've done that before. That really doesn't feel very good. But if they run out of chairs, sometimes chairs in some parts of the show are at a premium. There's the kind of soccer chairs that fold up and can fit in a backpack. I don't think I'm going to bring that, and I don't think I'm going to bring an inflatable pillow either, because some of the chairs, even the chairs, are really hard. And then finally, and my last point here, just in case you bump into me, I normally don't wear glasses, but when I'm looking through cards, I do put on like reading glasses. And so if you see me and I don't look like me, it's because I've got glasses on. And if you want to mess me up, this is a bad thought, but if my glasses got broken or stolen, I would have trouble. I would have trouble because it seems like they're not getting smaller, but it seems like the print is getting smaller, or maybe better said, the differences are getting more subtle. Obviously, I'm not colorblind. I wonder about collectors who are colorblind and they can't tell the color differences, but I can see the colors, but some of the fine print there is really tough. And so I definitely will have my reading glasses. And if you bump into me, I look forward to seeing you, meeting you, and discussing some things with you. And I'll probably pull my reading glasses off so I can be my normal self and then put them back on to jump back into the cards. So really looking forward to it. And don't worry about interrupting me. I'm going to be there for a long time, and I'm going to be loving looking at cards, but I love taking little breaks and visiting with the people that come up, and that's fun. Hopefully it's fun for you. It's fun for me. Again, we've got this kind of fraternity of people that love cards and love sports. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you there in a week and a half or whatever that's going to be. And again, thanks organizers for continuing to put on an excellent national. Hopefully this is going to be just as good as all of them before and maybe even better. So Atlantic City, I'm pulling for you.